a professional engineering license, project management professional, certified construction manager, MBA. These are all credentials that engineers think about pursuing, think about getting. Which one's going to help me most? Well, in today's episode, I have with me James Houston, Assistant Vice President, WSP, and he has all of these certifications, and they've all helped him in his career. So, James, talk a little bit about how these certifications have helped you and how kind of they propelled you in your career.
I'll start off with the PE. As a junior level engineer right out of college, starting my career at the Illinois Department of Transportation, I noticed that when I started working, that my boss and his boss and every other department manager had a PE behind their name. And I was very curious, and I said, I wonder what that's about. Maybe it's something that's needed for managers, or maybe it's something that you need to get elevated to that level. Because I'll be honest, when I came out of school, there wasn't really an emphasis on that at the time, or engineering intern, which is the first level of the PE, and then the professional engineering license. I knew what it was, but there wasn't much emphasis on it. And so I really didn't learn much more about it until I actually started working. But once I did, I knew it was essential for my career. And so I started taking steps towards the professional engineering license, doing the necessary studying, the courses. I took professional courses to help aid in that studying efforts. And then I, went ahead and took the exams. And I will say that the PE is the earning your stripes as an engineer, so to speak, because it demonstrates everything that we went through in school, and not just that, but also the professional practice. Practicing in engineering for a minimum of 4 years, which I think is the average time that it takes to be qualified for that credential. And so it shows a minimum level of competency in your profession. Doesn't matter if it's civil engineering or mechanical or electrical, whatever. It shows the minimum competency as an engineer for that, and it's trusted among clients throughout the country. And so that's a little bit about the PE. From there, as I moved up the ranks into like mid-level management, and then moving towards project management, the PMP became essential for me because it really shows the global credential of project management, irrespective of industry, irrespective of whether it's engineering, medical, IT, really a project management professional, meaning that you know how to go through the life cycle of a project and manage all aspects of a project. And so that one was very intensive. And I will say, because there were aspects of project management across different industries that were tested, and that I didn't really know from an engineering background. But the foundation is the same. Approach is a little bit different, but the foundation is the same. And so I really laid into the project management professional. I think that credential has done very well for me in my career, and it's elevated me to where I am today. The last credential is the certified construction manager. Being in the construction management industry, this credential was the last one I received, and it really shows a technical expertise for construction management. A lot of our clients in the Chicagoland area are now requiring this credential for construction management and program management. And currently, I am the only one in our region or Chicagoland area who has this at my organization. And so it really provided value, because the certified construction manager is the reason why I'm at the program for the Metro Commuter Rail District, doing construction oversight right now. So that provided value in a very critical way, not just for me, but for the organization. And then lastly, my MBA, I decided to go back to school, and a lot of individuals, you know, go back to school for their technical expertise. And that's something I wrestled with for some time. Am I going to go back and get a master's of science in engineering, or am I going to go the MBA route? I wrestled with that for a couple of years. I didn't go back to get my master's until 7 years after I got my bachelor's. So I was wrestling with it, which direction I was going to go. But I knew that I wanted to be a project manager one day, and I knew I wanted to be in business development also one day. And so that's where I kind of decided to go the MBA route. And the MBA program, it has paid dividends because when I received my MBA, that's when my manager first started letting me do business development tasks. I got brought in for capture planning for pursuits, how we win work, strategic planning, and all of those things I honed in and learned from my MBA program. And so, you know, definitely, I would say as an engineer, I always say all engineers should become a professional engineer. I definitely say that as a baseline. But then the sky's the limit on all the other certifications. If it's something in your wheelhouse and it's what you want to do, and if there's a professional license or certification that you can get it. Because clients value that, organizations value that, and then also, I'll speak to something else that is not really maybe talked about that much, but it's almost like a bragging thing for organizations. Have you ever gone to a website and seen where organization will say how many professional engineers they have on staff? That's part of business development as well. As far as when you're going after, requests for qualifications, requests for RFQs and RFPs and proposals, those metrics matter. It also can help on insurance, by having so many licensed professionals at your practice. And so that's another aspect as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I can speak to, when I was a consulting engineer, I worked in New Jersey, and they actually had a ranking. Like, they actually ranked firms in the state of New Jersey based on the number of PEs that they had in the firm. There was just a ranking for that. And so if you got your PE, the CEO would take you and any others that got it in that round of the exam out to lunch. And for me, it was a big, big thrill to be able to have lunch with the CEO after getting my PE. But no, that's great. I mean, hearing all those things is great, because you see credentials after people's names all the time, and you always wonder, like, how helpful are they really? And it sounds like for you, they've really all been instrumental in some way, shape, or form in your career. And I guess the one last thing that I'll ask you about is that it seems to me, one of the biggest challenges for engineers is deciding like which credentials they should pursue in their career. And it sounds like for me that because you had some clear goals in your career where you wanted to go, project management, business development, that really helped you to figure out which credentials would serve you best. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yes, absolutely. That is entirely accurate. One of the things that I still keep up with to this day, even at the assistant vice president level, I still have goals. And we all have goals on where we want our career to grow to, and where we want to be, like in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Lean on that, because the answers to those questions will determine which ones will provide the most value for you. And so if it's if you have aspirations to go into project management, the PMP is for you. If you want to get into business development, perhaps getting an MBA is will help you bolster that. So it really just depends on your goals and your career outlook. And so I would definitely say, continue to do those, set those goals for yourself, and anything that can help along the way, go after it and try to achieve it.
That's great. And I'll just say that there's a great book that someone recommended to me a few years ago. The name of the book is Where Will You Be 5 Years From Now? And what it does is it helps you to think through your goals and where you want to go in your career. And for those of you that are, younger professionals, you don't really know maybe where you want to go yet. You're still trying to figure it out. Things like that, or mentors can kind of help you with that. So James, listen, you've been great. Thank you for sharing, just anything from your career with us today, especially about these different credentials. I know it's always a tricky thing for younger professionals. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anthony, for having me once again. And I appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed those tips by James. I mean, it's amazing to see someone at such a young age have all those credentials, and also that each of them have been helpful to his career in some way. And I think the key takeaway here is understand where you're headed in your career and figure out which credentials can move you forward. Please consider subscribing to our channel here. We do put out videos like this on a weekly basis to help engineers become better managers and leaders. We'll see you next week.